everybody, it's Emily at Arc Schooling, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul. So I have bought some books over the last couple of months. I've been trying to tone down my book buying and my habits right before Christmas, but I have bought some things, so let's show you what I bought. So I'm going in absolutely no order. I bought some of these books back in October, like the second half of October and into this month, so it's sort of a mishmash of both months, but whatever. Nobody cares when I bought things, you just want to see what I bought. So first up I have Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. Honestly, this book was not speaking to me. I saw it on shelves and stuff and I was just not that interested. But then, you know, BookTube made me buy it because I've heard several people saying how amazing this is, and so I bought it. It's not a book I would have bought otherwise. I don't even know how to tell you what this is beyond that it's like a YA sort of contemporary ghost story, I think, and the cover's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I both like and don't like it. So, I've never read anything by Nina LaCour before. Oh, look how pretty the inside of the book has the cover on it too. But naked, it's not that exciting, just gray. Anyhow, I don't know what else to tell you about this besides that it's a YA contemporary-ish ghost story. Then I have Wishes and Wellingtons by Julie Berry, and I bought this because Sarah told me that Julie Berry, who you guys might not know, but I loved Lovely War. She wrote that, and I've been wanting to read more of her stuff. And this is her newest release, and it's middle grade. This is a story, I think, that takes place in like Victorian London and has a genie in it, I think. Something to do with wishes, and maybe there's a genie. I'm not 100% sure I know what I'm talking about, but it sounded cute and it's Julie Berry, so I bought it. Another middle grade I picked up is The Campaign. And this is by Leah Sales. I bought this for my youngest, but she didn't end up picking it up. That's fine, we'll read it another time. But I thought it would be a fun way to discuss elections and the process of elections and all of that in a kid-friendly way. We've studied elections leading up to this past election season, so she learned a bunch of stuff, but we just didn't pick this up for whatever reason. I still want to read it though, it sounds cute. This is a story about a girl who, I think she becomes the campaign manager for her babysitter, perhaps. I feel like that's what this is, and it just sounded cute. And so I thought it would be a fun introduction to how to get involved in your community and that sort of thing. I bought a copy of Remember Me by Christopher Pike, and this was one of those on a whim purchases. We were walking around in Barnes & Noble. We've been once since the entire quarantine started. In the whole pandemic, we finally went to a bookstore, and I'm walking around and I see a table display with a whole bunch of Christopher Pike on it, and I have one of those nostalgia moments where I needed it. This particular Christopher Pike book was my favorite book in middle school, to the point where I read it to pieces and then loaned it out to a friend and never got it back. So I don't loan books anymore. But, you know, I want to see if this holds up. I haven't picked it up yet, but I really want to read it again and see if I still love it like I did back then. Because Christopher Pike was like my gateway drug to Stephen King and onto horror from there. So I want to read this again and see if it gives me the same feelings. I picked up Voices, The Final Hours of Joan of Arc by David Elliott. I've been hearing things about his books. I also bought Bull by him. It just hasn't gotten here yet. I don't know if it's gonna get here at this point. It's been floating around in the mail for a little while. But I've been curious to read these. These are books in verse. And in this, I think in Bull, it's something to do with maybe the Theseus and the Minotaur story. This one is Joan of Arc, and I've always been fascinated with Joan of Arc since I was a little kid, and so I'm curious to see what this is and how he tackles her story. I pre-ordered The Way Back by Gabrielle Savitt. I saw this, I don't remember where I heard about it. honestly, and I wish I did, but I heard about this book and saw that what the plot basically revolves around Jewish mythology, and I got excited, besides the fact that it's just a beautiful book. Like, take in the cover. It's gorgeous. So this is something to do, the people of Tupik, a tiny riverside village in Eastern Europe. There are demons everywhere, and the story, like, is about the angel of death coming to their village, and yeah, it says drawing inspiration from Jewish folklore, and I want to read this so much. I've been wanting to read more things about Jews that aren't related to the Holocaust, so that is like a quest that I'm on. I want Jews and happy stories. I want stories where Jews don't die. So I'm really curious to see what I think of this, but I love the idea of the Jewish mythology and all of that. So, and like I said, the cover is just stunning. This next one isn't a purchase. It was sent to me by Pandia Press, and that is the new History Quest. This one is Middle Times. I have History Quest Early Times that I've already read most of, and I'm using that right now. It's going to be in the level 1 update that is coming out soon. So I'm excited for this one because I love the Middle Ages. That is like my go-to, besides World War II, the Middle Ages is like my go-to time period for like that just escapism of castles and princesses and royals and all of those things. So I'm really excited to see what they did with this. I'm going to be using this in level 2 when I do that update next. So we'll be switching over to History Quest Volumes 1 and 2. Beyond that, I can't speak to that yet, but I can tell you that Volumes 1 and 2 will be in levels 1 and 2. So I'm excited to read this, and thank you so much to Pandia Press for sending this my way. I picked up Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is a book that I just have been hearing so much about that I need it. So this is, which honestly, I was almost hesitant to buy it because it is YA fantasy. And you guys know that I don't really get along so well with YA fantasy, but this just sounded like so interesting, and I've heard so many great things about it that I decided to take the plunge. And I figure if I don't like it, if it doesn't work for me, I can pass it on to Sarah and eventually Regina, and they'll enjoy it. So basically, this is about a girl who lives in our world, but our world with magic, I think, and she's in college and discovers, I don't know, demons and things. And there's a secret society. I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this book. Our world with magic, secret societies, and that sort of thing, and social justice issues, and that sort of stuff come up in here, and I want to read it and see what I think. I picked up the sequel to, what is it called? Orphan Monster Spy, I think? Orphan Monster Spy, I think, was the first book, and this is Devil Darling Spy by Matt Killeen. Honestly, I bought this while I was still reading Orphan Monster Spy. I'm not sure how much I want to read this now. I didn't dislike Orphan Monster Spy. It just wasn't, I think I overhyped it in my head, to be honest, and made it into this like book I was gonna just love. I thought it was gonna be a 5-star book, but it ended up being a 3-star book, which isn't necessarily bad. 3 stars is still a good review for me, but I just, I don't know if I need the second part of this. I don't know if I needed more, honestly. I feel like it could have just been one book. But alas, the war was not over at the end of that book, so I guess we get more. So, this story follows a girl named what? What is her name? I think her name is Sarah, but they changed it to Ursula, right? Yeah, this follows a girl named Sarah Goldstein whose parents have been killed during World War II. She's Jewish, and she can pass for Aryan because she's got blonde hair and looks very German. And she's working for the resistance. And in the first book, she's like infiltrating an elite boarding school for German girls and trying to help get information about things. And so I don't know what this entails. I'm not sure what happens in this book, but I'm probably going to read it because it is World War II and Jewish resistance and assassins and stuff. So A book I read this past month was The One by John Mars, which is a book I would never have picked up, but BookTube made me do it. So many people talked about it that I just I couldn't resist. So I read that and I really liked it. So I decided to read more by John Mars and I picked up The Passengers. This sounds equally fun. It's about our near future, I guess, when we have self-driving cars. 8 people are taken in these cars and trapped, and social media can see everything that's happening, and we can't save all 8 of them. We have to decide who's worth saving, and you find out things about the characters along the way. I'm sure it's got a lot of plot twists and craziness, and it sounded like a fun ride, so see, fun ride. So I decided to pick up a copy and see what I think. I have When Time Stopped, a memoir of my father's war and what remains by Ariana Newman. This is a story about a woman who discovers that her father survived World War II in the camps, but I guess he never really talked about that time in his life with his family, so they didn't really know what had happened to him. And this is her sort of unearthing his past after he's dead and finding out what happened to him. So I'm really interested in reading that kind of stuff. I've always been interested in reading about people's experiences during the Holocaust. It's just a time period that haunts and fascinates me. And so I'm interested to see what this is and what that was like to discover a past you never knew about from someone you've been close to your whole life. I know my grandfather was a soldier in World War II and he was there when they liberated one of the camps, and he never spoke about it. So I only know about it because after he died, my father was telling me stories about that kind of stuff, and I'm like, what? I never knew that. I would have asked him about it if I did, but alas, I will never know what his thoughts were about that. I have The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson. This is a feminist witch story that I don't know if it takes place during the Salem witch trials. I don't think so. I think it's after Salem witch trials, but I could be wrong on that. But I've been hearing a lot of really good things about this, and I really wanted to read it. And I know Sarah wanted to read it because it was nominated for the Sybil Awards, I think. So it was on her list of things to read. So I decided to pick this up. I also bought a ton of stuff for Sarah for the Sybil Awards, which maybe she'll do a video about that because I don't have that stack of books handy because they're upstairs in her room. We're almost through. I have a few books left to show you. I had pre-ordered the Owl Crate version of A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I've never read anything by Naomi Novik, but I had been hearing so many things about this book that I just needed it. This is a magic school kind of situation, but with girls, and honestly don't know that much, but I love how beautiful this book is. I'm a huge fan of hardcovers that don't have dust jackets. Love it. Oh, the inside papers are really pretty too. This is, because I got it from Owl Crate, it's signed, as well as there's a note from the author included inside. And the edges are gold. It's a gorgeous copy. I'm obsessed. So I've heard this compared to a feminist Harry Potter kind of a thing. I don't know if that's true, but I'm excited to pick this up. I finally have my hands on the sequel to Tristan Strong, Punches a Hole in the Sky. This one is Tristan Strong Destroys the World by Kwame Mbalia. I loved the first book so much. It was just so perfect. It was a perfect middle grade fantasy read, and I just adored it. And so I've been very excited to read the sequel. I haven't yet, but now I own it. Ooh, and it's green when it's naked. Oh, it's so pretty. I didn't even look. I love it. Oh, and there's a map on the inside. Oh, I love it. So I'm excited to read this. I think I might do this, both books, hopefully, as read-alouds with my youngest sometime soon, but she's still on her reading around the world kick, so I don't know if she'll allow another book that takes place in America, because we've already done that. So perhaps. I have Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. This is horror, I believe. It's like a horror comedy, if I'm understanding it correctly. and it's about a school for girls in the early 1900s that is haunted, I believe, and it's sort of a meta story because I want to say that they're making like a documentary about this. So I think this is meta in that it's a story about the school, but also about people filming a documentary about the school and shenanigans that ensue while they're making their documentary. I could be wrong, but I think that's what this is. I'm very intrigued about it, but it is a very big book, and so I don't know when I'll pick this up, but I'm really interested too. Ooh. Naked is just red, but the inside is pretty because there's bees. I have We'll Soon Be Home Again by Jessica Bond and Peter Bergting, and this is a graphic novel account of 6 survivors of the Holocaust and their experiences. And I just wanted to read it. It's very short, so I think I could probably do this in an afternoon, or less than an hour, but I'm gonna pick that up sometime soon. I also have Sapiens, a graphic history, The Birth of Humankind, Volume 1 by Yuval Noah Harari. I loved Sapiens. We read this, me and my twins read this like maybe 2 years ago. We read the regular version, and so when I saw there was a graphic novel coming out, I got so excited. So I don't really know a whole lot about this yet, but the artwork is pretty good. I'm excited to pick this up and see what I think. This is like the first half of the book, so obviously there's going to be a part 2 that comes out at some point, but oh, and it smells really nice. Oh, nice. I'm a sucker for a nice smelling book. So I will let you guys know my thoughts on this because I'm very excited to pick it up soon. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. If it'll end up in a level of at some point, if I'll make an entire curriculum based around Sapiens, I don't know. Thoughts that roll through my head. The last thing I'll show you I bought is this book by Lonely Planet Kids. It's the Big Earth book, How Our Planet Was Shaped by Earth, Air, Fire, and Water. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I just thought it looked cool. Honestly, I love big, fancy, like lots of pictures, science books like this because they're great for like leaving out for my kids to flip through. And I've been wanting to throw in more like practical geography stuff, you know, not just cultures, but also the land itself and that sort of thing. So that's kind of what I had in mind for this, but I don't know if it'll end up anywhere else in like curriculum or if it's just something that I bought for fun. Who knows? I don't. So those are the books that I bought in the months of October and November. I'm not buying anything else for the foreseeable like next little while, and so my last haul of the year will probably go up around Christmas, after Christmas, assuming that I get any books. Like, I always assume that I'm gonna get books because what else are people going to buy me? If I get books for Christmas, then I'll do one more haul in December and that'll be it for the year. Otherwise, this is it. This is the last haul of the year. So here's the books that I bought this haul. It's a lot, but it's fine. Thanks so much for watching. If there's anything in this haul that you really want to see me read, let me know. I'll prioritize the best that I can. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy reading. Bye!